Hi, I'm Michael Newrock, and welcome to the first market analysis for 2017 for traderselite.com. Great to have you here. Happy New Year. I hope that you had a pleasant time over the Christmas New Year period. The markets are just starting to kick off now. We're going to take a look at what's happening. It's been a quiet period over that Christmas New Year period, as expected, and markets really aren't going to get going again until next week. We do expect a lot of volatility occurring throughout the year, not just this month, but it looks at being a exciting year. We've got the fallout of Brexit. We've got continued problems in Europe. We've got China struggling with its economy. We've got Australia on the brink of its first recession in about 25 years. We've got the US continuing to come out of its crisis and continuing its recovery, with the Fed likely to increase rates this year by their own words. They're looking at 3 hikes this year. We've got the inauguration of a new president in the States, and what that will mean globally. I'm sure it's going to be an exciting one. We've got a lot happening, and more locally with ourselves, we're launching a new product and service very shortly. We're going to kick it off with some free system trading workshops. They are definitely well worth attending. We're going to be giving away the core of the system for free, and it's an exciting time. I'm delighted to be able to share that with you, and I know it's going to really help you with your trading, as it has with many people already. Alrighty, so let's get straight to it. Now, before we start going through the charts, I just want to bring to your attention there are 3 different indicators being used on these charts. If you don't have it installed, you can get it in the members area under the training video for the elite trader. So what we're seeing here is the big arrows, which are derived from the trend catcher indicator. They provide us guidance on when the moving averages cross over in combination with the MACD to form new trends. We've got the small arrows, which are provided by the price flip indicator. That gives us an idea of when the price is about to reverse. Good idea to take them in conjunction with the trend. So these down arrows here. And we've got the macro levels indicators as well, which are rock solid. If you've been following them, if you've been using them, you'll see how accurate they are. And it's a great idea to take trend trades or reversal trades from the price flip indicator in conjunction with these macro levels, because they indicate institutional levels of support and resistance. They're very important. They're based on the weekly and monthly time frames. They don't change very often. In fact, it's been about 6 months since they've changed it all, and that was the only time they've changed in quite a long period is after Brexit, when the fallout was so great. The immediate fallout was so great that we had to go back to the books and provide some more levels. But they are what institutions use, those key levels of support and resistance. Anyway, let's get through it. If, of course, you don't have these indicators installed, then become a premium member or upgrade to premium membership. It's definitely worthwhile. You're going to get a lot more signals than what we publish. Of course, we can only publish so many a week, and we typically only publish them on the greater time frames to give everyone a fighting chance of taking those signals, and at the same time not getting themselves into trouble with too many trades. But it's a 24-hour world. There are lots of trades happening all the time, so I urge you to download them, install them, and use them. All right, as always, we're going to start with gold, and I'm not going to refer to the market analysis previously made because it was prior to Christmas, but as it was last week when we missed that analysis, This week follows from that. Not a lot has changed as far as overall direction. So we're going to take a look. In the short term, on the 4-hour time frame, we're looking at gold going up. However, flicking over straight to the weekly time frame, we can see that it's heavily in decline. Okay, so it's gone up last week and this week, but that doesn't really mean anything. I mean, take a look at the drop. It's nowhere near forming a new trend trade. Now, the MACD is giving us an idea that it's a little oversold, or it has been a little oversold, and it's providing us a counter trend signal. But overall on the weekly, it's down. On the weekly, oh, sorry, on the daily, this is really interesting. A new trend trade is forming, and in a couple of hours at the close of day, this will be confirmed. However, it's not the strongest looking of trend trades. It may actually extend further than what we were envisaging. I was looking at it originally that it would stay under 1142. It broke through that now, but it's looking at finding that resistance at 1168. So the battlegrounds really is 1168. If it pushes through and closes above, we might see a move, forward or upward towards say 1191. If it continues up that way, then we may have to revise. But for now, we're looking at short trades to be in line with the weekly overall trend. So weekly down, daily newly forming up. However, we're still in the midst of this giant downward move. So if we get a little overextension, and if it pops back down under 1168 and forms a new trend trade, then I'd suggest that could be a possible short trade to take. Or even on the 1 hour, it may have already reached its limit, just getting close to 1168, and you can see that it tested it again a couple of times. So if a new trend trade forms now, then it could be a short down to 1142 or below. If it smashes below 1142, then we're definitely in bear country once again. Euro. This has been going a bit of a zigzag. So again, over the last 2 weeks, it hasn't been a great idea to trade too much. So weekly, we're looking downward. And if you look at actually on the monthly, I mean, you can see that there is plenty of room to still move down. Of course, the euro is heading towards parity now, being at around that 104 level. Daily, it's down. So weekly down. Sorry, monthly it's down. Weekly it's down. Daily it's down, and 4 hour is really too hard to tell at this stage, and it has been going zigzag. So if it moves up to 105.22 and gives a price slip, that's these little arrows here, coinciding and closing below this 105.22 as resistance, then it could be a good move to short it, or drop down to a shorter time frame like the 1 hour and see if you can catch a short trade to the downside, because we fully expect that overall trend of the weekly and monthly is going to continue. Pound, again, very similar to the euro, bit of a zigzag here. If we look at the weekly, we get a much clearer idea of which direction it's actually going. It's going down, right? Daily, it's also going down, and the 4 hour, see, this one failed here because it was already oversold. You can see how low it is on the chart. So, from where I see it, I think most traders would agree that 124.82 or thereabouts around that actually provided a bit of resistance here as well. If a new trend trade forms on the shorter time frames, or wait for a new 4 hour to form, or a price slip around that 124, or straight just on pure price action at that 124.82. That's what we're looking. If it bounces through that, then all bets are off, and then we're looking at 128.10 128.01 for another opportunity to short the pair. Euro pound, it's finding a real. It made a move earlier this week, and I thought, okay, well, that's it. It's going, but it was a bit of a fake move. We've come back up to this 85.05, and we can see here fairly recent weekly downward trend trade. It has been pushing back up, and then we've got this price slip occurring last week as well. Daily, bit of a different story. So the euro pound's a little hard to tell at this stage. I think if you waited until 86.36 around that level, then it could be a good opportunity to short it. However, right now it is in a downward move on both the weekly and the 4 hour. So it really needs to move below 85.05 again. So maybe a short-term trade on, say, on the 15-minute. Maybe wait for it to pop down again, form a new 15-minute trend trade. That could be a good opportunity to short it down towards 84. Pound Swiss. Now, this is pretty much the opposite of the euro pound. We've got a newly formed or recently formed weekly trend trade followed by last week's price flip to the upside. However, it really is in indeterminate sort of areas. 126.47 is the battleground. Daily it's down. So weekly it's up, daily it's down, but it had already given the strong daily price flip just a couple of days ago. If it pops back up over 126.47, then it could be a good opportunity to go long, okay, up towards 134.14. So that's a really, really nice trade if you can catch it. And already I'd say in the shorter time frames, not quite, but 126.47 is that. If it pops above, again, you can see like the euro pound, it made a move for it, tested it, and then came crashing down. So, again, I just want to bring to your attention that these macro levels were initially published, about 9 or 10 months ago, and they haven't changed. So that's how powerful they are on those longer term moves as far as institutionally wise. Okay, Aussie. That's the Aussie US. We've got it moving down on the weekly, down on the daily, and fairly softly upward towards on the 4 hour. Yeah, at this stage, I wouldn't be going long on the Aussie because again, we're down on the weekly, down on the daily. Okay, we've had a couple of moves upward, but let's see how it goes over the next 2 hours. We'll wait for this day bar to close. If it moves back down towards 72.67, then there could be an opportunity to short it. Looking at it on, say, the 1 hour time frame, that to me seems like a fairly sensible one to look at. So again, we're looking at the price moving below 72.67, around that 72.50 thereabouts for a new 1 hour trend trade to form. That is for this gold moving average to cross over the gray moving average. But, of course, assess it at the time and see if it looks as a good trade. We need to have that angular momentum in place as well. In other words, we want to have a steep looking trend trade either to the upside for buyers or to the downside for sellers. Okay, Kiwi down on the weekly. It still hasn't been the strongest looking of downward moves. Down on the daily, a bit more powerful there, but it's been range bound between these two macro levels, 68.97 and 69.78. So a little hard to tell at this stage. I'd probably stay on the sidelines for that. Again, like the Aussie, we're looking at shorting it, and it really depends. If you can catch it on a price slip here, below 69.78 may be good. However, a new 4 hour trend trade is forming. So I have a feeling that it's going to pop above before we get another short move. Again, the market's been either overbought or oversold depending on the pair that you're looking at. And we published an email just prior to Christmas saying, listen, beware of the big reset. And that's what we've seen on a couple of these pairs already, like gold. We'll take a look at the dollar crosses in a moment, and the yens. Okay, Aussie, Kiwi. Really hard to tell on this one. It is technically down, but it's not real strong. So down on the daily, but it's already failed. And as far as price, moving above those moving averages, and it's upward on the 4 hour. So I'm going to put this one on the sidelines and say that it's rage bound for now. Dollar CAD. Now, dollar CAD is one of those pairs that experienced a big reset, if you like. It came up to this 136.06 level, and has moved down since. However, this 132.60 is of real interest. So here on the weekly, we're looking at it as going up, not a very strong up. However, when you put it in context of prior moves since 2014, you got to give some some authority to any upward move that's in line with this multi-year move. Daily, there's the big reset. So daily it's up, but it's failed, and well, just recently. And on the 4 hour, it's down. So what I'd be looking at is see how it responds at this 132.60 level. If it breaks through and closes below, then we could be seeing further moves down to 130 or 62. But that's a great opportunity to get in at a fantastic price for a long trade. And that would be more of a long-term move, or it certainly could be if you wanted to hold it. But it may or may not get down to here. The next level really is this 132.60. So possibly, a new 1 hour trend trade or a 1 hour price slip, but it is getting close, and I don't think it's going to go up again before we have a testing of this 132.60. And you got to see, it's only 40 pips away. It's pretty close, and it's actually been closer than that, down 132.81, 21 pips away. So it's already come very close, but I think that there's more room for movement in this downward move before we see a new upward move in line with the weekly and the daily. Alrighty, dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss weekly, it's up. Tested this 103.28 macro level 4 times. It was tested previously back in October of last year, and right now on the daily, we're getting a lot of those price slips, giving all along macro levels. They would have been great trades to take if any of you did take them. Congratulations. Like with the dollar CAD, I think we could see some more movement down before we see another movement up. Okay, so quite often this is deliberate. We won't get into that at this stage out of the scope of this this analysis, but manipulation is a word, but it's all about uh, the big players getting in at prices that they want to get in on, and sometimes they drive the price the other way um, so they can get back in on better pricing. So over here we see a new 4 hour trend trade, but it's failed. Not a huge surprise, especially during this year. We'll see how it plays out over the next 2 days of this week. So 101.29 would really be the level that I'd be looking at to get back in on a valid trade setup for a long trade. Okay, dollar yen, we had a bit of a reset here back down to 116.13, moved back up after Christmas, and then it's looking at a possibility of, or sorry, in the new year, looking like a possibility of coming back down to 116.13. So on the weekly, we can see very strong move up. Prior to this trend trade occurring, I was a big advocate for bullish on dollar yen, as I am with other yen crosses as well. But bullish up, if this drops down to 114, for example, on the weekly charts, it's going to make very little difference, no difference really. Even if it drops down to 112, it'll still be considered as strongly up on the weekly charts. Daily is also up as well, so 116.13 really is the battleground. If that falls, then 114.87. So temporarily, could you short any of these on a contra trade? Or contra move trade? Well, you certainly can, but you always play a little bit more of a risk in as far as the move not being in line with the overall move, which is currently upward. So yes, you could, but I personally prefer to trade within or in line with the overall trends. So again, 116.13 is what we're looking at, and possibly a price flip like it occurred here on either the 4 hour or the 1 hour, or a new trend trade. But for now, down, short term, um, long term, or medium term, or very near term, we're looking at another upward move. Euro yen, this is a bit of a mixed bag. Overall up, like the dollar yen, you'll see that all of these yen crosses are fairly similar. Euro's been taking a battering, but against the Japanese yen, it is still upward. Now you can see 123.31 was the real line in the sand there as far as the battleground between the bulls and the bears. Um, we are a little oversold here, so it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a drop under back down to 119.80, and that's going to give 300, 400 pips opportunity right there to get in on the market. But for now, it's a little difficult to really tell. If it pops over 123.31, then it could be an opportunity to get in on a long trade, but it's probably not my preference at this stage between the yen crosses. Pound yen, this is also upward. We're seeing a bit more strength in the pound early on, but it's still early days, and we're seeing a little bit of zigzagging as well. Weekly, it's up. Daily, it's recently moved down again. 144.80 on this particular one is the line that we're looking at. If it drops back down to 140, could provide a good opportunity to go long. There's about 700 pips in that trade. So on the 4 hour, I would wait until it breaks over 144.80. And obviously these don't happen all the time, don't work out. This one here was above, and we actually published a pound yen trade. Now it didn't work out, but overall, I think we're still looking at some good potential for upward moves on the pound yen as we do on other yen crosses. Aussie yen, very similar story. Weekly, it's up. Daily, turning, it's almost identical. And the 4 hour. So 85.41 is the level that we're looking at. We want to see a nice push move. We're getting this consolidation pattern. If that continues, maybe if it drops back down and then swings back up, that would be the time to get in on the trade. If it continues down, then of course all bets are off, and we'll see how it responds. Maybe it's going to go back down towards 83.55. But right now, we're looking at a long trade, but only if it gets up convincingly above 85.41. Kiwi yen, it's a tempting one to go long on because there's a fair bit of room there, a couple of hundred pips. Weekly, it's upward, very strongly upward as well, stronger than the Aussie or the Euro or the pound. Daily, it's been curling up, and 4 hour, it just hasn't been able to push up. However, if we see it drift back down to this 81.42, or even back down below and then pop back up on a swing, or a new trend trade on a shorter term trade, a nice convincing one, then we could see some nice movement upward. Okay, Swiss yen, very similar. Weekly, it's up. It's all these yen crosses you probably notice are pushing up, banging their head on the ceiling against their respective macro levels. In this case, it's 114.95, and on the 4 hour, once again, we really need to see a move up. Otherwise, we could see it move down before we get another upward move. Okay, CAD yen, this is a nice one. We actually published a long trade on this early in the week when it opened after the new year above this 87.39. That was a key. It was already in a 4 hour trend trade. Weekly, it's strongly up. Daily, it's more strong than the others. It's passed through that macro level that the other ones have been having issues with. And at this stage, it's just a couple of hours ago hit target one at 88.40, I think it was. And so now target two is just prior to this macro level, 89.51. So if you get in, or say take profits around 89.30, 89.40, maybe even 89.20. But there's a good amount. There's a solid 100 pips in there for further upward move, and that's the way we see it. We retain being bullish on CAD yen. Okay, Euro Aussie. The Euro Aussie, Pound Aussie, Euro Kiwi, and Pound Kiwi all extended further than expected, and they are the only pairs in the that broke ranks, so to speak, apart from gold actually, with the market analysis our last market analysis for last year. So at this stage, 143.46 was that key line, and it broke it. It went back, it went right up to 147.05, gave a really nice price flip right on the on that macro level, and then has come plummeting down since. So weekly, it's down. Daily, it's a mixed bag. It's up, but it's crashing. And 4 hour, it's down. So what do we do now? We wait to see if it goes back down under 143.46. If it does, then there's a good opportunity for it to move. I wouldn't get in now, because for all I know, it could go back up, because we are still in a daily upward trend. So we really need to get again below 143.46, and there would be a solid trade in there. There's 300 pips down to that next macro level. Of course, these are all based on idealistic performance of the moves, and it's important to lock in profits as you go. I can't overemphasize that enough. Okay, Pound Aussie. With this one down on the 4 hour, so weekly it's a tricky one to call. Technically a new upward trend trade has occurred. However, it's pretty much failed straight away. There's a lot of bears behind this that have been pushing it down since for the last 3-4 months, and it's already gone down 500-600 pips. So it's a little difficult to say that this really in a weekly trend trade at this stage. And certainly if it crashes below 166.45 again, then it'll certainly be downward once again, with a new trend trade occurring. Daily, a new trend trade possibly forming here. It's not one that I like, which has more sort of movement to the upside and then comes crashing down. We're seeing consolidation here. So 166.45 would be the level to take a look at. This forms sooner, than write it down to 166.45 or as close as you can get to it, and just be aware that there could be some support at that level. So at this stage it's downward. Euro Kiwi, very similar, downward on the weekly, upward but semi-failed at this stage on the daily, and really sideways in the 4 hour. So 149.67 is this level. If it reacts positively at this level back upwards, then it's acting as support, and we could see a move, up towards 154.10. But if it closes below 149.67, then we could see further moves down towards, around this 146 level. Okay, pound Kiwi again, down on the weekly. It technically formed, but it's already pretty much failed. So I wouldn't be taking that as a weekly trend trade at this stage. Daily, very similar to the Euro Kiwi, almost forming. And if it does form over the next day, then certainly that's going to add more authority to the downward move. And very similar with the 4 hour, but it's a messy pair at the moment. And until we get more definite direction on the movement, then I would probably be putting it on the sidelines. Aussie CAD, weekly down, daily down, and down on the 4 hour. So it's a tricky one here. I mean, it's all very much down, but it has been fighting back. We had this price flip over here. We've had a recent one, so I wouldn't be looking at that at this stage. The reason, of course, is as we saw earlier, the Aussie is gaining a bit of strength at the moment, but I would say that's temporary. If this goes back up to 97.49, then I would probably drop it down on a 1 hour time frame. Even on a 15-minute, but there's a lot of movement, for it to get back up there anyway. Well, 90, about 70, 80 pips. At this stage, it's downward, and would be looking at new downward or short trades to get involved with. Eurocad weekly is down, daily similar story. It was technically up, but it's failed at this stage, and down on the 4 hour. So perhaps 140.25 if it gets back here and gives a price reversal, then there's a couple of hundred pips in that trade to the downside. And pound CAD finally down on the weekly. This one never formed like the Euro CAD or the Aussie CAD. So it puts the other two in doubt as well, because these are all against the CAD. Now, of course, all of these moving downward against the CAD is actually moving the CAD up, or helping moving it up, which helps this CAD yen trade, which makes it particularly strong. So weekly down, daily down, and 4 hour down. So, it's a little too late to get involved in this at this stage, but maybe at 164.71, maybe on a shorter time frame, look for a price slip to the downside. But for now, it's all down on the pound CAD. So we'll come back to the Aussie just to see how that goes. Alrighty, well that completes today's market analysis video. We'll be back to normal next week, so watch out for the new market analysis. We do expect some action to happen, over the next week. I'm not even going to say over the next couple of days, because it is still, the world is still on a bit of holiday mode. Look out for the systems trading workshops coming out in about 3 or 4 weeks. Naturally, we will be reminding you about that, but it's definitely worth attending. You are going to get some great value out of it. And thanks very much for your support in 2016. Looking forward to a fantastic year in 2017. Some great new improvements and enhancements occurring with Traders Elite as well. So until next time, good trading, live well, and I'll see you soon.